Hi, everyone, and welcome to your Week 5 recap, Week 6 preview. It's the 2017 undefeated commissioner and founder of the league. That's me, myself, Andrew Skolitsky. But hey, let's just jump right to the match we all want to talk about, which is the two undefeated teams facing off 4-0 versus 4-0. Now, I know most of you are probably thinking, Andrew, come on, Jason never had a shot. You're so much wiser at fantasy football. Your team's so much greater. He never really had a shot. And sure, you're probably right. But hey, even as the king of this league, I am a fair man. So let's at least acknowledge that it was a pretty close match when Will Fuller put up 2 touchdowns. And even though I'm taking a victory lap here and telling this little bitch to sit down, I do have to acknowledge that going into Monday night's game, I only had a 7 point lead, and Jason Brondo sitting there with the number one wide receiver in the league, Stephon Diggs, who thankfully pulled his groin early in the game and ended up with only one catch for 4 yards. Some people might call it luck that Jason Brandos only put up 4.9 points with the wide receiver one or running back one. But hey, I'm taking this victory and I'm enjoying the undefeated record while I can. Now I could go on and on and on about me beating Jason's ass. I mean, a real ass beating. But let's move on to where the standings are right now. Now I'm going to do a more in-depth view of the league and where we're standing at the midseason review probably sometime later next week. But right now, I just wanted to offer some words of encouragement for the people at the bottom here. We have three 1-4 teams and three 2-3 teams. So, I mean, my mind's definitely set on last year. Thomas started 5-0 and then still managed to miss the playoffs somehow. How he lives with himself, I don't know. But, even at 1-4, you're only 2 wins away from third place. So, everyone's still in it. And I just wanted to, kind of remind everyone not to give up. Now let's jump into what I think the two big games are this week. We have Sadie and Caleb, who are both on a race to get into second or third place and locking that up. So no one wants to move backwards to 3-3. I'm sure they're both really wanting to win here to get themselves on the right track. Then we have Joe and Thomas, both towards the bottom. Again, only a couple of wins from turning their season around. You don't want to go too long down at the bottom. So I know for both of them, this probably feels like a must win. Now, it does feel a little gross saying Sadie's going to win this game with Jonathan Stewart and McKinnon as their two starting running backs, but I can't help myself. I am going to say Sadie wins this game. I think our wide receiver Hogan is on an insane pace so far this season, and that kind of hurts for me to say because I was more of an Amendola believer over Hogan. That being said, that guy is getting a lot of work, and I think it's only going to continue. He seems to be the touchdown guy right now for New England, especially if Gronk continues to miss any more time. Now, last week I called out for Wallace to have a big game, and I happened to guess that one right. So, hoping I'm right again here and saying that Hogan's going to continue to do well and have a good game again this week. All right, so moving to the second big game of next week is the battle of the bottom here, Thomas versus Joe. One thing that Joe's team has that's turning out to be pretty special right now is Zach Ertz and Wentz combo. Ertz, of course, being the number one tight end, and Wentz starting to have some pretty good weeks back to back. Joe's lost a couple of really close games back to back weeks, so I think he's just due to break out this week and have a win. Also, from this Eagles game last week, if you didn't watch it, it had one of my absolute favorite group celebrations from this year so far. After Torrey Smith got a touchdown, he did a group baseball celebration for the playoffs going on right now. But also, I wanted to point out it had my favorite touchdown of the year so far as well, which I was not expecting to see from Aguilar. I'm not really a huge fan of him or anything, but this stiff arm and then a little juke move that he does going to the end zone with the celebration was pretty cool to see. All right, and here's a quick look at my picks for this week. I have myself beating Brad. I have Josh beating Cole. I have Matt beating Brandon. I have Mike beating Jason Brandos, dropping Jason Brandos to now 4-2, which would make this game between Sadie and Caleb even bigger, which I have Sadie defeating Caleb. That's marked wrong here on this sheet. And I have Joe beating Thomas. So, in last week's podcast, I talked about the first trade, which I guess broke the water for even more trades. So, I just kind of wanted to go over them. I know there's a lot of trades going on here, so I just kind of wanted to do a breakdown of a lot of these trades happening, especially since I was involved so much in them. Okay, so this started off with me last week trying to find a tight end. I couldn't really get a trade for Gronk going on. That's a whole other story with the first or not first trade of the year. The main thing is I wanted to trade Michael Crabtree because I didn't know how long Carr would be out. So I packaged him with C.J. Anderson for a player that I really like, Julio Jones. So I get Julio Jones, and Brandon gets 2 players. Now, I picked up McKinnon, who had an amazing week on my bench when I was beating Jason Brondos. I don't know if you guys remember, I beat Jason Brondos. So I ended up getting the 6th overall tight end, Cameron Brate, for Jerick McKinnon. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty good because I got that tight end I wanted, and I got a 2-for-1 for Julio Jones. Now, Josh goes on to trade Stafford, Gore, and McKinnon for Jay Ajayi and Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram, who's getting quite a bit of a boost because Adrian Peterson is now the starting running back for the Cardinals. I only bring that up because I, of course, picked up Adrian Peterson. So now I trade another running back prospect that I pick up off free agency, package him together with Larry Fitzgerald, and I get Jay Ajayi, a running back that I really like. Overall, I think I had the most moving pieces in this trade, but in the end, I feel like everyone got a pretty good deal. Here's a little breakdown of what everyone ended up with after all the dust has settled from these multiple trades going on this week. And I'm not sure that anyone necessarily cares, but since it's my podcast, I'm just reviewing for myself. I gained Jay Ajayi, Julio Jones, and Cameron Brate. Cameron Brate, that tight end that I've been needing, and Julio Jones, an upgrade for 2-for-1 that I thought I got a pretty good deal on. As far as Jay Ajayi, he's probably going to sit on my bench for a little bit. We'll just have to see how confident I feel as it comes to this week's matchup, but he is a running back that I really like. I did lose C.J. Anderson, Fitzgerald, and Crabtree, who are 3 key pieces to my 4-0 start. So it does make me a little nervous to make these moves, but losing Adrian Peterson and McKinnon, who are just 2 prospect running backs I picked up off free agency, really isn't much of a loss to me. So with that being said, good luck to everyone this week, and I'll see you next week on the review.